Playing volleyball has always been a great passion of mine throughout my life. It's something that I've started from the early age of 11, and ever since I picked the ball up, I've never been able to put it down. It started with my sisters. My first sister did not make the team, but my second sister, however, did. And because of her, I was able to actually learn how to play. And I started when I was in 6th grade, but I started officially playing when I was in 7th grade. A lot of people say that they don't really understand the game and they think that it's boring. I don't specifically know if it's because they don't understand it or because they've never watched it. But to help you guys better understand, I'm going to be talking about the basic rulings, the positions, and the competitiveness needed to be able to play this sport. So to start with, I'm going to be talking about the basic rulings, and one of the most basic ruling is the guardians of the net. So this saying is used to describe the people who are closest to the net and are supposed to follow the rules of the net, which mean I have a display right here. But as you can see, here is the net and here is the line underneath the net. So at any point, you are not allowed to touch this net. You are not allowed to stick any holes, stick any of your fingers through the holes. At any point, if any of your point of your body touches any of the net, that is the opposing side's point. And if the ball is shanked into the net, it is opponent's point. Anything involving the net most likely means that the other team got the point. You are never allowed to go under the net, which when I showed you the center line, you are not allowed to cross that line either. Which brings me to my next point, the basic rulings of the line. So you have a boundary line, you have a center line, and you have an attack line. The attack line is the boundary line for the defensive players, which are the DSs, the right wing, the left wing, and the libero, which I will be talking more about later on when I talk about the positions. But the defensive end is not allowed to cross the attack line at any moment unless you are like jumping from it. If you jump and you land in the attack zone, then it's all right because you were still behind. As long as you were still behind the attack line. Then you have the end line. Servers are not allowed to step across this end line when serving, and you're also not allowed to. The ball is also not allowed to go past it. You can play off of it if you did it, but if the opposing side hits the ball outside of that boundary line, then it is referred to as out and a dead ball, and you receive that point. But if you hit it outside the boundary line, then obviously the opposing side gets the other side. It gets the other point. Lastly, we have the center line, which is the line that is right across, like perfectly aligned with the net, and that line is meant basically for the guardians of the net. They aren't allowed to touch it. They aren't allowed to. Their feet is not allowed to cross it because at that point you're entering the opponent's court, and that's an illegal play. So basically, the rulings are: don't follow the ball to the line, but do not pass the ball outside of the line. The width is a 30-foot wide court and it's 60 feet long, meaning we do have a lot of area to cover. So the ball isn't just in a simple place to just pass it. You do have to work with a lot of area, and there is a lot of positions you have to cover. There are a lot of zones you have to cover, and you only have 6 different players. Which leads me to my next point is the positions. According to the ICRA, in the volleyball education program at the Minnesota University, there have only been 6 positions because there has always been 6 different zones. So you have one zone. It's kind of like a snail. You would start from the back of the line, zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And because of that ruling, that is why there's 6 zones. And they said that according to that same university, volleyball is never going to change how many zones we have. They say that 6 is enough, and that's enough to compete. But because there are 6 zones, that means there are 6 different positions. You have right side hitter, outside hitter, setter, libero. I can't remember forgetting. I literally played it. Middle, and I'm pretty sure I named all of them. But left wing and right wing. I am a DS, which means I receive attack balls. Setters are the setters. They pass the ball to the hitter, and the hitters are the ones that kill the ball. Their job is to put it down. And then the middles are also, they're killing the ball and they're tipping. But we all do the same job. We are allowed to play any position we can, except for libero. Libero is not allowed to travel past the attack line. They are not allowed to play front row. That goes along with basic rulings. But I'm going to move on to my last point, which is competitiveness. This is my most precious point because I want people to understand how fun volleyball can be. According to Florida State University, yay, that's my favorite school. Volleyball is the second most worldwide ranked popular sport in the country, and I'm so proud because not a lot of people think that it's very popular, but it is. Both men and women play it. It is the second most watched sport in the Olympics. I watch it every year, and there's different kinds. There's beach volleyball, there's court volleyball, it's not loading, but I did have pictures. Okay, so there is court, there's Olympics, there is feet volleyball. That's really weird, but there is court volleyball and there's beach volleyball. So there's a lot of different types that you can choose from, and I just like to say that I think that there's a lot of opportunities that people can choose from, and I think that volleyball is a great one to choose from. So I hope that this speech really helped.